I thought, okay, I got to kind of break this all down, so let's look at the who's, the what's, the where's, the when's, and how to post to help with that goal of being a better poster on social media in 2023. So again, if you've ever attended any of my marketing boot camps, the first thing I'm going to ask is you need to decide, who do you want to target with your messaging? Because when you're putting a marketing plan together, when you're putting a digital marketing plan and strategy together, you are going to get better traction and you are going to generate better success rates if you can define who your target audience is, that you want to be engaging with on social media. And we refer to this as your ideal client profile, your ICP. And your ideal client profile, it's that baseline client type that you set for yourself and for your MSP in terms of who do you want to target, who do you want to do business with moving forward. And then everything from your content marketing strategy, from your sales perspective, it stems from that profile type moving forward. Because, we talk a lot about having and enforcing a technological baseline standard. We just kind of talked about in the last question, across all of your customers. And so it's just as important to create and enforce an acceptable baseline standard, with respect to your business development goals and objectives. So as an example, my ideal client profile type that I attempt to make connections with on social media, are you guys, MSP business owners, MSP sales and marketing professionals, executives at the VP level, director level, manager levels. I also want to work with any marketing administrators, any sales executives, account managers. They are all my part of what I would call my ICP, my ideal client profile that I would like to target and work with. And then next, where should you be posting when it comes to social? What platforms, should you be present on? And that is often one of the most common questions I do get asked, when MSPs are working on their social media marketing strategy is, what's the best platform should I be on from a social perspective? And my answer that I always give is be on the ones where your customers are. And for B2B selling, consensus still is that LinkedIn is the best platform to be active on and to use to help build your audience of business owners who are going to be listening to you, who are going to be engaging with you. LinkedIn is still where business happens. Because, if you think about it, LinkedIn continues to be the most up-to-date, publicly accessible database out there today. And it's free, and it contains virtually every lead that you could ever speak to. There's constantly, if you look at your own social feeds, people are talking about, oh, I've started a new company, I've started a new role, this is my role, this is where I'm going. So you couldn't ask for a more up-to-date database from a prospecting perspective. And HubSpot, I'm sure we all know HubSpot, biggest marketing automation platform in the market. They still believe that LinkedIn is 3 times better than Facebook or Twitter when it comes to leads and lead conversion. So, if you're struggling with social media and how to do a better job with it all, I would just kind of keep it simple, just stick to one platform, and that would be LinkedIn. Don't overcomplicate things by trying to be present on multiple different social platforms all at once. Like if you're having a problem sticking to social, just stick to LinkedIn. Because for us at Enable and for myself, LinkedIn is where most of our engagement happens. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, but 81% of our own engagements, and I would say probably closer to 100% for myself, take place on LinkedIn. 60% of our followers are on LinkedIn. So yes, we are on those other platforms, Facebook and Twitter. We recognize though that most of our target audience, they're on LinkedIn. And so that's where we do get our best engagement and our best leads from. So now that hopefully I've convinced you that LinkedIn is the place where you need to be, before beginning to even start ramping up, any sort of posting cadence or engagement, you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is complete and up to date. Because if a prospect is even thinking about reaching out and engaging with your MSP, they're going to first look at your website to kind of see how it looks, and if they like what they see, then they're going to go check you out on LinkedIn and to find out more about you and find out more about your MSP. Or it could even be vice versa. You know, they may see you on LinkedIn, like what they see, and then kind of go check out your website. So you want to make sure that you conduct kind of an honest assessment of how your LinkedIn profile looks, and go and update it if it needs it, because this is really about creating that wonderful first impression. And we all know how important first impressions are. You know, we do judge a book by its cover when it comes to social media, and having an outstanding LinkedIn profile is what is going to help you grow the number of connections and followers that you can amass. So looking at your profile, just making sure that it's complete. You know, all those different sections are up to date with accurate information that's filled out as full and as best as it can be. So you do want to make sure that you add your employment history, maybe any awards that you've won, promote any speaking engagements or maybe articles or blog posts that you've written. You know, all those things that will really make you shine and help you stand out from a professional standpoint. And another thing that I think is incredibly important is your profile picture. You know, do you have a professional current profile picture on display? You know, really, you want to avoid, you know, maybe using an old photo of yourself, or, you know, using one where it's clearly evident that you were part of a group photo and you just kind of cropped out your head. So we really do want to aim for quality here when you're really looking for leads, and you want to use LinkedIn as part of your prospecting strategy. So, you know, kind of step one, if you know that your LinkedIn profile needs to be freshened up, make that a top priority of your social media marketing plan. I have seen so many poor LinkedIn profiles, but it's a really easy thing to fix. It just takes a little bit of time to devote to it. And then when it comes to social media and LinkedIn, you want to focus on adding value and building credibility, because that's what's going to help grow your audience. And the primary way to accomplish this is posting consistently. And I know that's where a lot of us really struggle. So what does posting consistently look like? You know, one post a day, ideally 3 to 5 times a week. You know, I really do try to post Monday through Friday. I know we should be posting on the weekends. I just haven't got there yet. So I'm a Monday to Friday girl when it comes to posting. And so you do want to make a commitment to being active on LinkedIn every day if you can. You know, this has to be made into a process, and spend time every day investing in your LinkedIn connections, because it really is the consistency and the persistence that are crucial in generating leads via LinkedIn. So getting into, you know, what do you post? And I know this can trap a lot of MSPs and kind of put them off from being more active on LinkedIn, because there's panic as to what sort of material they should post. It can be very, very overwhelming when you have to post something every day. But there are so many different ideas that you can leverage to help you with your posting schedule. You know, writing a monthly blog on some sort of topical item. You know, there's all sorts of stuff in the news. You know, write something about what's your hot take on something that's in the news. And this really works great for technology, or maybe it's something that your customers have been asking you about in your regular executive business reviews, those QBRs. You can post something about that. You know, you can talk about what's going on in your own MSP. Are there any new news? There's highlights. Is there any upcoming events that maybe you're holding, or maybe there's some events that you're planning? Maybe you're planning, you know, a lunch and learn, an educational type of event. Any sort of thought leadership material. Again, things that you're reading in the news, what's your perspective on that? How can that benefit, you know, your customers? Or what are some things that maybe your customers should be aware of that you would like to kind of offer your perspective on that? Talk about people content. You know, maybe you have some job openings. Maybe there's awards that you've won. Maybe you want to recognize certain colleagues. You know, maybe highlight, you know, a day-to-day in the life of your MSP. you can profile customers, do a customer spotlight, highlight any positive reviews or experiences that have taken place recently. And then Market Builder, with Market Builder, if you haven't been in, there's I think almost 80 now different campaigns. And each campaign, the team builds, 15 to 16 different social posts that you can also use as well to kind of formulate a lot of your schedule and then backfill with the other things. And another way to kind of add value and build credibility is engaging frequently, because that's also going to help build your audience. And so what does engaging frequently look like? And what this means is, liking your connections posts, commenting on their posts, sharing their posts. And this is all done in the effort to kind of start conversations, create discussions, and really demonstrate, your expertise where appropriate. You really do want to make sure that you're replying back to every single comment you receive, from your followers on your posts and the content that you share. That is a big one that I really make sure to adhere to. I know I'm not perfect when it comes to my social media strategy, but I really do make a point to comment if someone has taken the time to read what I posted and comment on my post. So that's a really big one. If you're strapped for time, just make sure that you're responding back to any of the comments that you receive from any of your posts that you put out there. And then making sure that you are building in time where you're adding to your network, finding organizations that align to your ideal client profile, who are on your dream list, reach out to them, really making sure that everyone, from your dream list of clients is a connection of yours is ideal. And then identifying the influencers in your industry or probably in your customers' industries and reaching out to connect with them as well. And how I kind of incorporate this in my own social media marketing strategy is, if I'm reading any sales book, marketing book, if I'm listening to any sort of MSP industry type podcast, or if I'm attending any webinars, if there's an author that I like or a guest that's being interviewed on the podcast that I enjoy, the first thing I do is I go and search for them on LinkedIn, and I reach out and I connect with them and I start following them so that I can engage with their material. Because not only do I find these people interesting, and obviously they talk on topics that I have a passion about, oftentimes these type of influencers, they post great material and they're offering really good advice all for free. And so I think the idea with all of this engaging frequently is being social, because that's what social media is all about, being active so that you can be seen by the virtual world. Social media, especially LinkedIn, you can't constantly just be on transmit. Like, posting is important, yes, but you also need to engage with your followers and what they're posting as well. And then, how can we provide value to your network of followers and connections? Because that's also going to be very important to help grow your audience. Trying to make sure that your posts or the content that you're sharing contains some sort of hook, whenever possible. And, there's some really good hooks that can help really deliver that value and engage your connections, so they can build up that audience. So really anything that you can provide around, how-tos, tips and tricks, lists, if you can, list out, reasons why something, they should be concerned with, or reasons to do something, that will really help. I really try to format a lot of my blogs to kind of take this kind of format. Where I give lists, I give tips, I give kind of how-tos, 5 reasons why, because then we can take those blogs and then repurpose them into social posts. So not every post that you put out there has to be 100% original. You really want, as you start building up your library, especially if you are, going to do blogs or write articles, there's a lot of content that you can take and you can repurpose into social posts. And so again, that's one thing that I do a lot. So when I write a blog, I make sure that I, because it's also easier to read if you're just reading a list, then it makes it very easy to turn those into smaller social posts for LinkedIn. Or maybe tracking the types of questions that your customers are sending you or asking you about, in your executive business reviews, in maybe some tickets, that you can use to create some sort of Q&A scenario or an FAQ. And then you can also provide value by providing any facts or statistics that support some sort of point of view on a particular matter. Again, just reading the news can provide all sorts of great ideas for social posts. You can act as a curator and then take some of those more interesting articles that you've read that would be relevant to your customer's particular industry, and then share your thoughts and your expert opinions on that. And then getting personal from time to time also helps with engagement to help grow your audience. Now, there's a little bit of a balance here because LinkedIn isn't like Facebook, so you don't want to overshare about your personal life because these are your professional connections. But every once in a while, kind of throwing in a post about yourself, really helps keep your connections interested and, allows them to kind of see, kind of the softer side of you. And that can often generate a great amount of discussion because it may allow your connections to kind of also open up and share, their experiences. And that creates some good discussions, some good engagement, and some good warm and fuzzies when you can highlight or show kind of a personal side to you besides just the professional side. Because really the goal with all of this, we want to build virtual relationships, but we also want to create a level of authority in your connection base via the content that you create and that you post. You want your prospects to click on your content, review it, share it, hopefully that they like it enough that they're going to repost it, and then go back to your website to kind of see what you're all about. Because business owners, and you've heard me talk about this a lot, they have what's known as that inertial loyalty. When it comes to their MSP, they would prefer to continue to deal with the devil they know rather than the devil they don't, which is you. And going out and taking a risk and switching MSPs, that is, for a lot of organizations, that can be scary. But by continually posting, good content that's targeted at your desired audience, the goal here is that you're going to remain top of mind with your dream list of prospects so that they can, see you as that viable alternative for when something happens with their existing MSP, when there's some sort of trigger event and now they're finally looking to maybe make a switch and replace, whoever they're using today. But I think really at the end of the day, the most important way to help grow your audience using LinkedIn is it's Nike. Just do it. Just post something every day. Don't overthink it. And I think a lot of us fall into that trap. I know I do. Getting it done is better than doing it great. Some days, not all the time, but just some days, just getting something out there is better than not putting something out there. And that's kind of my mantra to do a better job in 2023 from my social media perspective. Don't overthink it. Stephanie, done is better than great. Just get it out there. But you can actually measure your social activity so that you can have an idea of how well you're doing and how you can improve. And I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but there's something on LinkedIn that's called your SSI score. It's your social selling index. And what it does is it basically measures how effective you are at establishing your professional brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships. So it basically measures how well you're doing at being present and engaging on LinkedIn to kind of help build your audience around, who chooses to follow you. It measures your overall activity, and this score is updated daily. So you're always going to have kind of that real-time feedback on, what you need to focus on to help you improve that score. Because again, social media, it's all about being social. We just can't be on transmit all the time. Yes, we do want to post really good content. That's just one aspect of it. But to really grow your audience and the number of followers, we need to be engaging as well. So as I mentioned, there's 4 components that are built into this social selling index, this SSI score, that helps determine what your overall score is on LinkedIn. And it's measured at how well you're doing at, kind of establishing your brand. In other words, what are you doing to establish yourself as that thought leader? What kind of posts are you doing that corresponds to the type of professionals that you're looking to attract? It measures, what kind of job are you doing finding the right people? And this kind of goes back to that ideal client profile work I spoke about earlier. It's really about knowing who you're looking for and the keywords that relate to them so that you can build better connections. It's also about engaging with insight. And this really is about building connections, finding similar people, both in the MSP industry and also those in the industries where your clients are. It's also about joining relative groups where you can share your expertise, but kind of in a non-salesy type way, and also about building relationships. So yes, we want to build relationships with all of the top leaders within our dream list of companies that we want to look to connect with and have as clients someday. But it's just as important to, not discount other members of the staff within those companies as well. Because according to LinkedIn, 73% of B2B buyers, they prefer salespeople who've been referred by someone they know. And that percentage increases to 87% when the intro was made through someone in their organization or in their professional network. So my particular score, a little low at the moment. I'm sitting at 62%. When I was really doing a really good job of this, my highest score was 76%. But I do admit I've had a lot of distractions lately, a lot of different priorities, a lot of big projects that I'm working on. So I haven't been as diligent and active on LinkedIn as I should be or as I once was. Just as a point of reference, a good score is anything north of 75%. That's where LinkedIn considers you to be a thought leader. A score between 30 to 70, 70, 75, that's considered an okay score. So I guess I'm okay. But anything less than 30, that's considered poor. So you do want to do some work there. And again, if this matters to you. I put the link there so that you can track your own. It's just linkedin.com/sales/SSI, and you will get this pretty graph showing you what your score is. So if your score is low, what can you do to help increase it? So as I've already mentioned, make sure that your LinkedIn profile is thoroughly complete, because that's going to help improve your overall brand. And again, making sure you have a high quality professional photo. Again, not one that was taken 20 years ago or where you were cropped out. You also want to make sure that your job title is under your name with your description, your education, your work experience, your skill sets, all of that is filled out. You want to develop your, continue to develop your professional network. So finding the right profiles that will help complement your network, that align to your ICP, those that are going to be relevant to your MSP business. Join groups, because a portion of your SSI score is based on the acceptance rate of your connection requests, as well as your connections on LinkedIn. And so LinkedIn groups, they actually, if you've noticed, they'll suggest groups for you to join based on the compilation of your connections. And then being active and building engagement. So interacting with people in your network, showing your presence, by your commenting, reacting, your sharing, which will allow you to engage in other conversations and build those relationships, commenting on posts where you can demonstrate your expertise, responding back to your comments. And a tip that I read is, to really help boost your SSI score when you are responding back. You want to make sure that your response back, I think, is greater than 5 words. So they want actual sentences in terms of that engagement. You don't get rewarded for emojis or yes in an exclamation mark or something like that. They really want you to write a sentence or 2 to really give you credit for that. And then creating and posting content that is mostly yours. It is important to write publications and articles and post content that is yours, where you can talk about your experiences, your success, or maybe simply giving your point of view. But this also includes Market Builder, right? So don't forget about Market Builder that you can lean on that will help with this, original content scoring metric. And then, if you are looking for help on how to create an engaging LinkedIn profile, how you can use LinkedIn to grow your audience, if you've attended any of my boot camps, I recommend this book all the time by Sam Rathling, LinkedIn Bound: 8 Social Selling Strategies to Generate Leads from LinkedIn. I think this is a fantastic book. I don't get paid to promote it, but it is a really, really good read for anyone that is new to LinkedIn, who maybe not using it as well as they should. And I have a note that I'm going to go back and reread it in 2023 because she just came out with a new version in July of 2022. So read the book, follow her on LinkedIn. That's what I'm going to be doing. That's one of my priorities for 2023 so that I can be a better poster as well.